high-speed internet enhanced its network and introduced Blast, boosting connection speeds to a whopping 16 megabits per second. This ups the ante to a speed AT&T's DSL can't match, and I would like to encourage AT&T to fold. Put the cards down, back away from the table. Maybe have some nachos. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Welcome back to Shark Bite. Earlier in the show, we heard from Coach Wilson on winning an amazing 500 games in the National Hockey League. Well, the most important wins are yet to come for Coach Wilson, and he's going to tell us how the Sharks will get them. As a coach, more important to be liked, respected, feared?
I think respected. I don't know how far, well, as a human being, I hope I'm liked.
Right.
Everybody wants to be liked. You know, Mike Keenan might tell you he doesn't care. He cares because you're human. And you have to look at yourself, you know, you just, geez, nobody likes me. Who wants to live a life like that?
It's not fun. I'll tell you right now, it's not fun for me.
Yeah, I know. No, to me it's about being respected, that they respect that you know what you're talking about. And that they respect that you give opportunities, and they respect that you're gonna come up with a decision that helps a team win. And that's how your lineup, how you play, and different things like that. It's you know, sometimes it's a different situation you face every day. It's a moving target sometimes you're trying to identify and tackle.
For you, winning the Stanley Cup, obviously you talk about your dad had won it, and I know that you, as a coach, you take lessons from every single year. What kind of lessons have you learned, and what is your philosophy on what it's going to take to win the Stanley Cup?
Well, first of all, and the most important thing to remember is that you win the Stanley Cup when you're ready, and you can't force it. You know, and I've talked to some other coaches in this league. That's what a great opportunity it was to be at the All-Star game, and you're with somebody you're competing not all the time against, but throughout the season, Mike Babcock.
Certainly a team that everybody thinks has a great shot to win the Cup.
But like Mike, you know, I'm saying to Mike, you guys are so much better than everybody else, and he goes, we might be right now, but you know, you guys realize how good you are. Everybody views themselves as they're letting themselves down and not competing hard enough. And he said, I've had some great talented teams, but you win the Stanley Cup when you're ready to win the Stanley Cup. You can't rush it. There's a process you go through. And if you start taking shortcuts along the way, not only will you not win the Stanley Cup, but you'll also prevent yourself from having any chance in the future. And what we're trying to do here is bake a cake. And if you keep opening the oven to check on the cake, if you just let it set, we've got the ingredients, let the ingredients cook together, we're eventually going to win the Stanley Cup. That's my philosophy now, after all these years. You want to think that, oh, if you make this line change, if you're not good enough, you're not good enough. If you're not ready, if you're not experienced enough, you've got to gather that experience. And you just hope that we're able to pile on enough experiences that we thicken our skin, and we're going to be ready when we're ready. Hopefully it's this year.
Right.
If it's not this year, it's next year.
A lot of people will be talking about, as the trade deadline approaches, the Sharks need this, the Sharks need that. You have a wish list that you would hand to Doug Wilson and say, this will help us get there?
Oh, I think any coach would say, yeah, get a Scott Niedermayer.
Right.
Yeah, let's get Sidney Crosby.
That'd be good. That would work out nicely.
But it doesn't work that way. And if you analyze teams that have won the Stanley Cup, they don't make big trades at the deadline. If you're going to make a trade, you make it in January or December and give the guy a chance to create some chemistry with the teammates that he has. Teams that have, with the exception of Carolina over the last 5 or 6 years, the teams that won didn't even make a move. They wanted to, and then lost out to somebody else who was more desperate, offered a better return on the player coming in. For example, last year, Billy Guerin, and that was I didn't expect Billy Guerin coming, and that was like a last-minute present. When I woke up the next morning, Billy Guerin's coming. I thought that was going to work out perfect because the Ducks wanted him in the worst way. We got Billy Guerin. In the end, I thought Billy played really well for us, but it didn't work out. There were, and I'm not going to get in, there were a few chemistry issues.
Right.
with Billy coming in and some guys, sometimes you need to be with a guy for 5 or 6 months to understand what he's talking about, what he means, how he prepares for a game, the intensity that he brings, and it upsets the apple cart a little bit.
How people perceive you, how does that differ from where you are in reality? Because you have an idea of how some people perceive you. You have an idea of how the fans maybe perceive you, how media perceive you. You know, they watch a guy behind the bench and they think, this is the way he is. Where are they wrong?
I'm a lot more emotional than people believe.
Yes.
And the only place you have to see me is around my granddaughter to know what I'm really all about. I'm surrounded by women in my life. You know, my wife, 2 daughters, and a granddaughter. That's kind of, you know, what I'm all about. I suppose I sound like any grandparent. I think I have the perfect granddaughter. She's smiling, happy all the time. And that makes me happier than anything. That, just as long as my granddaughter's happy, I don't have to win a Stanley Cup. I say that in all seriousness. I want to win a Stanley Cup. I'm driven to win the Stanley Cup, but if my career ends tomorrow and I can spend as much time as I can with this little girl, that'd be good enough for me too.
Many thanks to Coach Wilson for spending some quality time with us. And speaking of time, unfortunately, we're all out of it here on Shark Bite. But before we go, I want to remind you to check out our next show because we'll have some great stuff from our East Coast road trip. Until then, I'll see you at the tank. Bye. There's our Shark Bite finish dance.
Your tap shoes the next time.
I took tap when I was a kid.
I know, that's what I told you.